You're watching the first Newshour Debate on Times Now Super Prime Time.
On the Super Primetime Debate number 1 this evening, Dr Subramaniam Swamy and Sanjay Jha from the BJP and the Congress respectively. Remember, there's a political twist to this, with the BJP insinuating something about Kapil Sibal's alleged involvement or partial ownership of the Helka, which Kapil Sibal hit back on today. And we'll come to that political aspect in some time. Dalip Tahil, I don't know. I've been told he's supporting Tarun Tejpal. I don't know why. I see no justifiable reason for him to do something as ridiculous as that, but that's his call. Dalip Tahil will be defending himself in some time. Sankarshan Thakur was formerly executive editor of the Helka. He's joining us this evening. He's now roving editor of the Telegraph newspaper of Kolkata. Ex-editor of the Hindu and one of India's best respected journalists, Siddharth Varadarajan, joining us from Delhi. He has stood by the victim's side from day one. Senior and respected journalist Ajay Bose. My first question goes to Vrinda Grover. You know, Vrinda Grover, what is most shocking to me today is Shoma Chaudhary's hypocrisy. I mean, look at it here. She knew all this. She talks of feminist politics. You know, she talks about what she has done in her body of work speaking for itself. Here you have the victim talking about how she was begging Tarun Tejpal to stop. But Shoma Chaudhary was trying to organize a 6-month laceration for Tarun Tejpal. Isn't that hypocrisy, Shoma Chaudhary's hypocrisy, the biggest story today that comes out, the most important development after this email comes in the public domain?
Well, I think for me the most important development does remain that what is now very clear to all of us, that rape, sexual harassment is committed by all kinds of men, including men who claim to be progressive, liberal, including in offices which purportedly stand up for women's rights, which bring out issues on women's rights. The aspect of Shoma Chaudhary as managing editor is quite clear, that she failed in all her duties. She failed in her duty to protect her employee. She failed in her duty to set up mechanisms that would provide redress or justice. And she clearly failed in any kind of feminist principles So
I remember debating the subject with you 2 days after this whole incident broke out. In fact, I think within 24 hours of this incident breaking out, Vrinda Grover, you were on one of my programs and you know, you were pleading there for the sexual harassment committee that was supposed to be set up at that point of time under Urvashi Botalia to be given an opportunity. Now, do you believe that your position at that point of time was a wrong position to take, given all that has emerged?
No, I do not believe.
You don't think so?
I think we need to understand that this story has developed. At that time, that is what I can only respond to what is in the public domain. We were told that that is what the woman complainant had asked as remedy and redress. Now we know that this is a case of rape, and therefore what is
at that point of time you believed what Shoma Chaudhary had said. Why did you believe her point of view? Why did you not look upon her as a party who could have been involved in a abysmal circle of self-interest trying to protect herself? Because you know that the victim had to come out and challenge it, but initially everyone, including you, Vrinda Grover, especially you went with Shoma Chaudhary's argument that the girl was satisfied.
I did not go with Shoma Chaudhary's argument that the girl was satisfied. Please do not. You have to let somebody complete an answer. I'm not in the interrogation box. The person in the dock is Tarun Tejpal. Make no mistake of that. At that point of time, we did not know. I am only privy to what is in the public domain. I'm not privy to anything else. If the woman is saying, I want to take time to take a decision and then I will decide which way I will go, I will stand by her and provide her support. And that is the way feminists and feminist lawyers work. You need to understand that. Now we know this is a case of rape. The police has stepped in. The courts of law will have to prosecute Tarun Tejpal. There is no scope for any complaints committee to be placed.
At that point of time,
the woman has said.
At that point of time, Ms. Grover, I'm not holding you accountable. I understand that the person at fault here. I'm not trying to put you in the dock. Don't get me wrong. All that I'm saying is that I'm rather surprised, Sankarshan. And let me go to Sankarshan. I'm rather surprised that a very powerful and influential section. A powerful and influential section at that point of time, instead of looking upon Shoma Chaudhary as an interested party who would go to any extent to protect her own interest, including, as it is now revealed, her financial interest by being a co-partner in the company that organizes the Think Fest, that instead of understanding that she's probably defending her interest, took her at face value. Why did everybody in Delhi take her at face value? That's my question. Let those in Delhi who support her
answer that. We did not take her at face value. Nobody took her at face value. People were asking her to do what the law requires her to do.
No. People were asking. No, they were not asking.
I have no information about what the financial dealings are or aren't. Maybe you have access to them as a journalist.
Well, it's in the public domain. Everyone knows about it. Well, Sankarshan Thakur, how do you read it? You know, what in your view are the bigger questions that have emerged now?
Arnab, if you remember, I was on the first program that you did on this issue, and I had spoken that day of how this issue was sought to be fixed by Shoma Chaudhary on the editorial floor. I know that contention has been questioned by Shoma Chaudhary as saying on what authority. I knew it on the authority of some Tehelka journalists who were in those meetings where this whole thing was sought to be brushed under the carpet in the crudest fashion. And now, absolutely, and I said this on the first day.
And Shoma Chaudhary named you
under the purview of the law. This needs, yes, she did. Yes, she did. But the authority that I was speaking on, and I totally agree with this lady who's been so horribly wronged, is that I have been speaking and I have been coming on these programs partly for the reason that what this lady
I find Vrinda is disagreeing with you. I don't know on what point.
There are a lot of a lot of Tehelka journalists, the good work they have done. And it has been totally desecrated, and I agree with this young lady.
No, but there was
always needed to go straight away under the purview of the law.
Which they didn't.
Because it was very clear from the beginning, the Tehelka editorial management staff was trying to hush it up.
Which they did not.
I have no doubt in my mind.
Which they did not.
And the subsequent flip-flops. Subsequent flip-flops and this whole effort, this whole mumbo-jumbo about secularism and BJP and non-BJP. I mean, if Indian secularism, Arnab, is riding Tarun Tejpal and Shoma Chaudhary's shoulders, Indian secularism should shudder. It should be very afraid of itself now.
Well, I completely back that.
This mumbo-jumbo of dividing secularism and BJP and Congress conspiracy. I am no defender of the Congress party or of the BJP. But the point is, Indian secularism is a far bigger thing than they are seeking to make.
I don't understand. I have never understood.
Even his affidavit, even his bail application is so self-congratulatory. The foremost critic of right-wing majoritarianism, as if he's the only man who has upheld Indian secularism. I mean, God forbid. What is this kind of pomposity that he's still playing out in the public space?
Well, since you made a reference to it, and with apologies to Siddharth and Ajay Bose and Dalip Tahil, I was about to come to you, but since Sankarshan referred to the politics of it, let's ask the politicians before I come to you. Subramaniam Swamy, there are two ways of looking at it, right? One way of looking at it is a terrible sheath of secularism that a accused like Tarun Tejpal is trying to put over himself, which you have every right to do so, and I have a right to ask that question as well. My question is, what about Sushma Swaraj? Why did Sushma Swaraj mention this thing about a union minister having an interest in Tehelka? And if she was so sure about it, why did she not directly name Kapil Sibal? Because Kapil Sibal challenged her too. You're making it political, aren't you? I mean, you don't need to make this political.
No, if there is a minister who's supporting Tejpal, I think Sushma Swaraj has a right to bring it to the public domain.
How do you know he's supporting? Today, she doesn't name Kapil Sibal.
Well, I mean, if this is Sushma Swaraj's view. She has expressed it, and it's not necessary for her to go to a national executive meeting of the BJP and get a resolution passed as a party stand. She is the leader of the opposition. She has expressed her view, and she has not named anybody.
She didn't express her view. She didn't express her view. She says a union cabinet minister who is the founder and patron of Tehelka is shielding Tarun Tejpal. Right? She talks about who. Yes, she didn't name Kapil Sibal. She didn't name Kapil Sibal.
See, the question is, listen, there is a lot of Congress support for Tejpal. That is known because the first letter after the government was formed in 2004 was written by Ms. Sonia Gandhi herself to the Prime Minister on June 18, 2004. And the Prime Minister replied, saying that in her letter, she wanted him to look into the questions of all the investigations that are ongoing against Mr. Tejpal.
Shooting in the dark, Subramaniam Swamy? Shooting in the dark?
What do you mean shooting in the dark?
Obviously shooting in the dark.
What more do you want? Shooting in the dark only happens in Times Now.
No, of
but
course.
I have produced a letter in a press
it's
conference.
Shooting in the dark, Mr. Subramaniam Swamy. Why doesn't, if she feels first of all, if she was sure about it, why didn't she name Kapil Sibal? That's question number one. Question number two, was she worried about being contradicted strongly, which she was? Question number three, the BJP or Subramaniam Swamy or Sushma Swaraj or Arun Jaitley, nobody has questioned the Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament, KD Singh, who owns a majority stake in a company, which proves that you are using this issue for petty politics.
Not to name, Ms. Sonia Gandhi made a speech the other day, say that some leaders of the BJP speak lies. Now who did she talk about? Why didn't she name them? Who are the liars? I was not the one who faked my educational degree or my name or place of birth.
You see, this is not a playground for your politics.
This is a common thing in politics to not name people. I named them. I certainly named them. I named that in the press conference today. I will say, let us look at the fact that today rape has become an epidemic. And it has become a crisis for the liberal left wing, which has been having an incestuous relationship with those in power. And suddenly they are now under the glare of the media, and they are finding it very uncomfortable. And in the case of Tejpal, in 2005 he had tried to get the best bad sex book award in Britain for writing a lewd book. Then 2001 he says, sleep with anyone you like. I mean, as if sex is a one-way traffic.
But this is what Tarun Tejpal has said. No, this is what Tarun. No, Subramaniam Swamy. This is what Tarun Tejpal has said. If you want to say somebody is an accomplice after what Tejpal has said, you can say Shoma Chaudhary is an accomplice there because she was trying to cover up for him. But you are almost suggesting it's the Congress party which is responsible for what Tarun Tejpal has said. Let's get the Congress to counter you. Sanjay Jha.
I am not saying Congress party has abated it. But Congress party is provided the umbrella for his hubris. He thought he can get away with it. He thought he's not. This is not the first case.
I will let Mr. Jha respond to you, Mr. Swamy. I will let Mr. Jha respond to you. I don't want to make it a playground for politics, but it has become one. So let's debate that part out. Mr. Jha.
But you started it.
Well, you started it. Arun Jaitley wrote a letter. Sushma Swaraj tweeted. Kapil Sibal came out, and you cannot say the media started it.
He didn't name, nobody named our Kapil Sibal.
I
don't know why he feels so self-conscious.
I can tell you that it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that a terrible social crime like rape is being given some kind of an ideological color here. It's got nothing to do with left or the right. In his own BJP-ruled state of Madhya Pradesh, there is the maximum incidence of rape in this country. That's not the point. The point here is very simple. And as you rightly mentioned, Arnab, yourself, the leader of the opposition, this is not a very small, individual of the BJP. This is a leader of the opposition, Sushma Swaraj, making a very scathing allegation against an unnamed cabinet minister of India. Now, you're talking about people who have got responsible positions in governance, who have their own reputations to protect. She makes the allegation, does not have the courage, does not have the strength of conviction to name the person concerned. I think the reason why Mr. Sibal mentioned his name, because, I'm very active on social media, Arnab, and over the last couple of days since November 15th, when the story of Tehelka came out, there has been allusions and innuendos that Kapil Sibal is the owner and he's related. By the way, people have been saying he's related to Tarun Tejpal, which is trashed today. Now, I think I'll want to make one point here. It's unfortunate that this debate has got a political color, but the truth is that the reason why Sushma Swaraj has mentioned Kapil Sibal, and I will mention this on your channel as a spokesperson of the party, is because the Bharatiya Janata Party is very interested in keeping the entire Tehelka issue and the transcripts alive, because there is a very dangerous explosive transcripts relating to that poster boy Narendra Modi and Amit Shah,
which they haven't
denied,
despite
putting a hogwash or an eyewash of an inquiry. And the idea is to divert attention from the stock or the Snoopgate, whatever you want to call it. I think the BJP is extremely paranoid and they are completely disturbed at the moment. So they are sitting and gloating. This is the point I want to make. They are gloating at the turn of events. And I want to make one point, last point here, Arnab.
I think it is
as a party, as a Congress party, we strongly condemn. I want to make a point. As a Congress party, we strongly condemn the incident that happened in Goa. The Congress party wants to make it explicit and categorical that the law must take its own course. Tarun Tejpal, if the alleged sexual assault has happened, must face the consequences of his actions.
Now you know what? You know what?
But the Bharatiya Janata Party
Mr. Jha, before I allow you to also carry on with the self-righteous tone, I'd like to remind you before I go to Siddharth Varadarajan that on November 18th, Jayanti Natarajan, Shobha Ozas, Rita Bahuguna Joshi and Girija Vyas had the press conference on the snooping scandal. They wanted Narendra Modi to resign. They were completely outraged. They called his question his moral right to compete as a chief prime ministerial candidate. Where is your outrage now? Why do I have to coax you every night that you take a principled position on the subject, not on the news hour, but in a press conference officially called by the Congress party, addressed by all your senior leaders? That's a question that you have to ask yourself.
Let me answer that.
No, I'm going to Siddharth Varadarajan now.
No, let me answer that. Let me answer that.
I'm going to Mr. Varadarajan.
1 minute. You asked me the question, let me answer that. 1 minute, let me answer that. Narendra Modi's case, he's a man who's a prime ministerial candidate, for heaven's sake.
No, I'm going to steer
India. And let me tell you, for somebody who does something so chilling, so violative of constitution, so frightening that I think anybody watching your program should be scared as to what the state under Gujarat, under him, is capable of doing to the average man. That's the reason why you have the press conference.
Okay, now let's go back.
Watching Jayanti Natarajan.
Let's go back to these two emails. Let's go back to this. Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. Sanjay Jha,
sympathy for anyone.
Sanjay Jha, let's go back to the two emails. I'm going across to Siddharth Varadarajan. The two emails which have come out, Siddharth, one point comes to me that the first email sent by Tarun Tejpal is a smart attempt to try and put the blame on the victim, saying she led him on. And in the second email of the victim, she tears him apart point by point. After that, given that the second email has emerged, now Shoma Chaudhary over the last 1 week kept talking / threatening that there are other emails which will come out, which will throw up this whole consensual theory. With these emails, in fact, it demolishes the consensual theory. It proves that the girl destroyed the consensual theory in her email to Shoma.
Absolutely. It's very clear from whatever trail of emails are now in the public domain that Tarun Tejpal has tried his best to give a certain color or a spin to what happened. In fact, even before the emails leaked, what we know from the exchange of text messages, there was also a similar attempt to cover up what had happened. And at the end of the day, however, because the young woman has stayed firm and has been very clear and insistent, you have a situation where in the public domain today, you have emails which clearly speak of Mr. Tejpal having transgressed legal norms, moral, social norms, ethical norms. And at the end of the day, no matter what backstory is attempted to be provided when this matter goes to trial, or by airing things in the media, I don't think this is going to alter the basic contours of this case. To come back to what you were discussing earlier, I think it's really silly that political parties have jumped into the fray on this. Of course, it's primarily Mr. Tejpal who's to blame, because Tejpal from day one, even his so-called, the lacerating the letter of atonement, sought to couch his own actions, within the larger persona that he believes he possesses as somebody who has expended blood, sweat and tears to bring justice and secularism and all of these sort of things. So he has consciously cultivated this persona and tried to link the charges against him to this political persona, and you see this very clearly in his bail application. And I think this is going to be a continuous line that Mr. Tejpal and his supporters are going to take. And it's essential that parties don't, the Congress party would be completely idiotic to leap into the fray on the basis of this sort of literature, this sort of an affidavit. And I think the BJP, the more it tries to politicize, I think the more ordinary people are going to feel revulsion, because this
you think the BJP is trying to politicize?
A man in a position of authority, who the victim, the woman, accuses him of abusing his position of authority to sexually assault her, the charges of rape. So this is we shouldn't, by introducing politics, you're taking away from the enormity of the alleged crime. You're taking away from the specifics of the situation, because at the end of the day, let's not forget, this is workplace sexual harassment and assault, which needs to be addressed So the more that parties politicize, I think they're doing a great disservice.
I totally second that.
The case of this young woman,
I
but
totally
I think widely, the wider issue that is involved here.
I totally and completely second. I'm going to come back to you in just a minute. I see your hand go up there, Vrinda, but I'd like to go to Dalip Tahil and Ajay Bose, and then we're opening it up. By the way, it's open debate round. You feel free to come in. You see, Tejpal in his mail writes, Ajay, he writes, and I quote, that you have made it clear that I read it all wrong and I will not dispute it. He says, I will not dispute it, I will not underplay your anger and hurt. If that is what he wrote then, why is he now disputing its version, her version? And if her version had not made its way into public domain, maybe Shoma Chaudhary would have let him get away with that version. You see, what Shoma Chaudhary was attempting to do is quite disturbing.
No, it's quite clear, Arnab, that Tarun Tejpal has more and more compounded his guilt. The more the revelations, we find that Tarun Tejpal has really in tightening the noose around his own neck, and it's quite clear. But I just want to make a larger point here. Tarun Tejpal's crime is not just against this young journalist. I think his crime is against the media as a whole. I think we in the media, I as a journalist of 40 years standing, I feel ashamed because we preach, we lecture everybody, we criticize prime ministers, presidents, we make sweeping comments, on social issues. And what has Tarun Tejpal done himself? What kind of credibility would the media have? Let me tell you an anecdote. A friend of mine was telling me that a journalist tried to get a flat a couple of days ago, rent a flat in Delhi. And the landlord seemed initially very clean, but then got back to him and said, my wife says this is a journalist and I've got daughters, so I better not actually, rent this flat out to journalists. I think he's brought great shame to the media. And I feel very, very angry about this.
No, I've just received another email, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This email has come from Shoma Chaudhary. It has been put out and it's dated, I think today is the 27th of November. And at 13 minutes past 8, Shoma Chaudhary has written another letter. She writes this to the victim. This is the latest letter. With your permission, I'd like to read out parts of it before I go to back to Vrinda and get Dalip Tahil into this. You see, she's making a long argument here. And she starts by saying it is unfortunate that your resignation comes in these circumstances, etc., etc. But the bottom line is this, that she again defends herself. The most shocking part is that once again, instead of saying that I did the wrong thing, my approach was wrong, Sankarshan, she again defends herself. She says, I took strong steps to ensure there could be no silencing of the issue. She was silencing it. She was allowing him to get away with a 6-month laceration, but she says, I took strong steps.
All the time.
No, and she says here that that you mailed wanting phrases changed on 21st November after the press storm triggered by the leak. By then, she says, events were too fast-paced to address your concerns. So she says that, in other words, she says that I went ahead saying all the rubbish that I said because there was no time to respond once the story was out there in the media. Then she says the suggestion that I am involved in any attempt to intimidate you or your family is untrue. The same goes for your claims that I have indulged in character assassination or slander against you. From the moment I received your complaint, my actions, which in this case Sankarshan constitute cover-up, effectively were driven by an outrage on your behalf, urgent concern for you and a desire to assuage your sense of injury. This is so self-righteous, this latest mail, that I wonder if Shoma Chaudhary is aware of the way people are feeling about the cover-up that was going on in Tehelka and the feelings which Ajay Bose has, or where it leaves the profession of journalism. Sankarshan, your response. These are parts of the letter which I'll read out more of.
Arnab, Arnab, does it tell us something now that all these emails are in the public space? Does it tell us something that of all the emails that the public now has access to, there is only one person whose emails and public statements are consistent. And those belong to the wronged young lady.
Absolutely right.
Everyone else, they have gone from pompous to deceitful to desperate to downright nasty. You should see the kind of character assassination that has begun underhand. Also now, why blame anyone else? Tarun Tejpal has politicized the issue by naming the BJP in his bail application and seeking almost presidential immunities as upholder of Indian secularism.
By the way,
how much pompous can you get?
This email is so self-righteous and so pompous in its tone that Shoma Chaudhary writes about how this has affected her. Vrinda, let me read it out to you. She is more concerned about how this has affected her. She writes, one second, she writes, to this extent I rightly or wrongly did not even cross-check your account with the other journalists you had confided in until you had been given the official apology. At the end, you have accused not just Mr. Tejpal but Tehelka of failing women, employees, journalists and feminists. That accusation unduly extrapolates the events of the last week with an institution whose journalists, staff and body of work have nothing to do with it. Today, despite my immediate assertions in support of you, I stand wrongly defaced and accused by you of having abandoned the public values I uphold in my work. This leaves me incredibly dismayed. It's the me letter from Shoma Chaudhary. I mean, I think we should have expected better, but I think people are beginning to expect less and less from this kind of self-righteous response. Quick response from you, Vrinda, to that. Dalip, sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah, see, it's very clear that Shoma Chaudhary is the one who has abandoned all her responsibilities, all her duties, legal as well as ethical, both towards the young woman journalist as well as all her employees. It is absolutely correct when she says that if you are not, please don't interrupt, it's really very hard to talk. These are serious issues and comments like bang on are just out of line over here. When you are saying, when she is saying you are not instituting proper mechanisms, what is the signal you have given to every employee, every woman employee in Tehelka, that if the top boss does this, he is going to get away? This is the impunity that has been signaled in Tehelka. If anybody has abandoned Tehelka, it is Shoma Chaudhary who has abandoned Tehelka, and these journalists there who built Tehelka to what it is today were trying to keep the institution. They are not the ones who have betrayed the institution. I also want to say that if you read all these emails and letters, from a legal perspective, there is admission of rampant and routine sexual harassment. What is the meaning of the boss lying on a couch with a light off and a woman journalist coming in to talk about a story? Is this how newsrooms are supposed to work?
No.
Is this how progressive journalism is done? But I do want to say something to Ajay Bose. This is not the isolated case in the media. What this young woman journalist has done is to give a wake-up call, just like the law in turn has given the wake-up call to the legal profession. It is not to say that this is an isolated case. There is sexual harassment of various kinds across professions.
Now, I just want to go back to Dalip Tahil with your permission.
And we need to do something about it.
I think Ajay Bose agrees with you. Ajay Bose agrees with you and more power to what you've said. And actually, I applaud you, Vrinda, for taking a firm position, because sometimes, it is the more difficult challenge. And I'm saying this, I rarely play any compliment.
That is what BJP and Congress does. That is what BJP and Congress does.
I think it is. We should not do
Feminists don't do that.
Exactly. Journalists, lawyers, independent activists should not do that. That's fine. I applaud you for that. Now I go across Dalip Tahil. I was told initially that you had some sympathies for Tarun Tejpal. I hope I was wrong, but I also hope that if there were any, they would have disappeared or vanished, evaporated in the last 35 minutes of our conversation.
Arnab, thank you very much for including me in this debate. Let me tell you, first of all, steady on there. I'm not protecting or trying to cover up or trying to talk about anything else apart from the fact that we talk about self-righteousness, but I think the bigger picture that comes to me is, as a society, long before all the evidence has even got to the judicial stage, long before, it was only today that I heard the Goa DIG of police say that the statement from the alleged victim has come to him, and the statements, as you said, the statements from Mr. Tarun Tejpal have come today. But in the interim, from the 16th to now, the point is that before it has all gone to a place where the courts should decide And if there is something that has been so untoward and a heinous crime against a woman, the person should be punished. But before that has happened, as a society with all our panels and everything, we've hung, quartered, and absolutely finished the person off. I mean, this is
what do you mean?
A very dangerous aspect.
No, one second.
I'm talking about a constitutional right.
Speak. What constitutional right? What about the constitutional right of the victim? What about the constitutional right of the victim had she not fought back? Had she not fought back?
No, I'm not saying that there are no constitutional
rights. What about her constitutional right?
Arnab, please listen to what I'm saying. You are sitting as well in a self-righteous situation here in a panel that has decided that the person has done wrong. Yes, he may have done wrong. But the point of the matter is that his reputation is finished. His business is finished long before this has even come to court.
Only one who has been self-righteous.
I'd say to you one thing, because Vrinda and Sankarshan both want to respond to you. I say with you, and I have always held you in the highest respect, but I want to say tonight to you that I openly question the logic in your argument, Dalip Tahil, because he has himself admitted that he did it. He admitted that he did it.
Yeah, but I mean,
I am not standing in judgment of that.
Who is this panel to decide that he is guilty? It has to be heard.
No,
arguments have to be
Vrinda
heard.
Grover will
it's the court
Vrinda.
that will decide.
Vrinda
Then
Grover,
let him face the punishment.
Vrinda Grover.
This is regressive.
His own letter,
this is a regressive.
His own letter is an admission of guilt. It is an extrajudicial confession. It will be used in the trial against him. He had no business giving himself whatever penalty he thought fit. Nobody, I have always defending the rights of the accused, but this is not identical to that case.
So let them decide.
Here there is, and thereafter he is misusing the liberty because he has not been arrested. He is slandering, abusing and smearing the girl. What about the constitutional rights of the woman who has spoken up? Why is her character being slandered in the bail petition through leaking of emails? This is misuse of liberty, which Tarun Tejpal is doing. He has no right
to denying anybody's constitutional right.
He should be arrested.
Excuse me, you are going into a tangent. I'm not saying you should or should not be arrested.
I'm not going into any tangent. These are all
I am saying please don't try any human being in the media.
Who's trying him in the media?
Yeah, don't try people in the media. It is regressive for women's rights.
I'm sorry.
It is regressive that a person can be quartered and absolutely ruined before the cases have been heard in the court.
Mr. Tahil, Mr. Tahil, 1 minute. Mr. Tahil, I just want Mr. Tahil. You know why we are debating this? Because A, the man declared himself guilty. B, he was declared by his management to be guilty. 3, he then decided this is the appropriate punishment. No, 1 minute. He then decided this is the appropriate punishment for me. When people started getting him caught red-handed, then he says this is the only evidence that can be used against me, the CCTV cameras. Now when he has been cornered on all fronts, he starts vilifying the victim, slandering her and questioning her character. I mean, he was the person who said, I'm sorry at the immense distress.
So let it go.
And now he makes it political.
You have no authority to pass judgment. You have no authority to pass judgment.
It is entirely
the place to pass judgment.
It is entirely in my right. It is entirely in my right to ask the questions. Even if a self-preserving, influential set of people want to say something. Sankarshan.
This whole situation and the way by every single panel discussion that I've heard in your channel and other channels, please hear me. Please hear me. Every single panel discussion that I've heard in your channel and other channels have started the conversation by saying Tarun Tejpal rape case, not alleged rape case, not suspected rape case, not sort of a sexual assault.
It is attempted rape.
Rape case.
It is attempted rape.
Done and delivered. That's what I'm talking about.
1 second. Under Article 3, this is not my fiction. Sankarshan will respond. Under Article 375, post the Nirbhaya case, what this man has done is certainly an act of rape. And if the victim had gone to any lawyer, if she had gone to Vrinda Grover saying that this is what happened to me, I can assure you not just Arun Jaitley but even Vrinda Grover would have said, if this is what happened to you, it would be rape. So nobody's making this up. I'm really appalled at what you're saying, Dalip Tahil. Sankarshan will respond to you now. Sankarshan. You're the other side, Sankarshan.
Arnab, just 2 points.
Sankarshan.
Just 2 points, Arnab.
Arnab, you will always hear what you want to hear. So what's the point?
No, I want you to hear what you don't want to hear, Mr. Tahil.
No, that is not...
It doesn't concern me. I'm not a friend of Tarun Tejpal. I'm saying a person I've seen over the last 11 days. It is like a summary justice, like the Wild West. It is concluded, done and done. You are sitting as a judge.
1 minute.
I'm saying, what right do you have to sit as a judge?
1 minute.
Or any of you on this panel to sit as judges?
We are not judges. We are not judges. We are discussing what has come out in the public space.
That's how you're coming across.
Mr. Tahil is a man of the arts.
Not judges.
And I would think he has a very keen ear
on this panel all along that Mr. Tahil has committed rape. He has
Hold on.
This.
Listen, Mr. Tahil, can you listen to someone else, please? I'm saying you are a man of the arts. I'm sure you have a tone for a special ear for tonality. You talked about self-righteousness. How the only people who have come out self-righteous in this are Tarun Tejpal and Shoma Chaudhary. Just read, just hear what they've had to say, their flip-flops over the past several days, and you will know what self-righteousness is. And number two, Arnab, if I may, I have to say that the way that the Congress is reacting to this, the impression has gone around fairly strongly that they are buying into the argument of this being a secular versus communal fight. What Tarun is doing is quite separate. What the BJP and the Congress are doing quite separate. But they seem to be buying into this
No, it's good you're asking that question. No, 1 second.
Perverse argument.
1 second. And Sanjay Jha, that comes from someone who the entire BJP always accuses of supporting the Congress. Sankarshan Thakur. He's being completely objective on this one, and he's not an RSS supporter.
Well,
it is time you ask yourself.
I'm always objective, Arnab. Excuse me.
1 minute.
I'm always objective.
I appreciate Sankarshan's views. I have a great deal of respect for him. But let me tell you, he's completely off the curve on this one. I want to repeat again. And you asked me this question. I want to repeat categorically in a channel which is watched by a huge audience. The Congress party has got absolutely a serious condemnation to make of the incident of alleged sexual assault. Now, we don't want to sit here on judgment. The matter is already with the police. The matter of anticipatory bail has gone to the court. Let the law take its own course. Let's put an end to this.
What is this law take its own course?
It's utter nonsense.
What is this line of law takes its own course?
Was only held Arnab Goswami.
Why are you being so openly?
It's already doing it, isn't it?
Why are you being? Why
it is already happening, isn't it? In
what Sankarshan is saying to you, Sanjay, please listen. What Sankarshan is saying to you is that not he, not Vrinda Grover, not Subramaniam Swamy, not Arnab, not Dalip Tahil, everybody. In fact, most people are pointing the finger at the Congress party, saying what happened to the Congress party. In 4 days, their position. No, 1 minute, let me complete.
Arnab,
let me complete.
If you look at
don't heckle me.
Finish.
Don't heckle me. You're verbally heckling me, Sanjay Jha, and you know you're doing that. That's my job, not yours. That's on a lighter note. The question here is, Sanjay Jha, that everybody is asking you, how come your positions on violence against women, snooping on women, violating women's privacy, taking away women's rights, assaulting women, raping women, everything changed? I would have liked to see Sanjay Jha yesterday night on Newshour being the first person before anyone in the media questioned Congress Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi, that Mr. Tarun Gogoi, there is a woman who people attempt to rape, gang rape. Her eyes are gouged out, right? And she's beaten up. She lies unconscious on a road in Assam. Does it take the media for you to institute a special investigation team and an inquiry? And I'd like to see Sanjay Jha tell the Congress party leadership that 5 of your top women leaders, like they did one Sunday, not too long back on Snoopgate, should have come out on this in this story. You haven't done that. And what is holding you back?
Well, let me answer you very quickly.
Why is it selective?
All the 5 women.
If it is, that means you are using these issues for political gain.
Ami Yagnik was on your program yesterday, Arnab. Now, 1 minute.
Yes, she didn't have an answer.
I've seen all the Congress spokespersons, men or women, all of them have seriously condemned the incident at Tehelka. You will not find a single instance.
I'll get Subramaniam Swamy here. Because he's been quiet, not because I want to make it.
The Congress party would try and, in any case, rationalize what has happened in Tehelka. Not at all. I think it's utter balderdash.
You know, when you're silent, you're rationalizing. When you're selectively silent, you're rationalizing. I'll get Sankarshan.
That's an impression and perception that has been created.
In fact,
since you asked me about 4 women addressing a press conference, let me tell tell you, the 4 women addressed a press conference because we were scared for not just one individual who's been stalked in Gujarat, but what could happen to the women of India overall.
Oh, really? And in this particular case, that thought didn't occur to you?
God forbid.
In this case, that thought didn't occur to you. Let's get Subramaniam Swamy into this.
Serious issue.
No, 1 second.
The Snoop Gate, 1 minute. The Snoop Gate is a grave issue in front of the country.
Wonderful.
This is not an ordinary individual.
Wonderful.
This is a man who occupies a position.
You know, Sanjay Jha, may you please request you to please stop.
Violated all norms of parliamentary procedure.
I request you, I appeal to you, I cajole you, I plead to you, I am requesting you, and now I am telling you to stop, Mr. Sanjay Jha. Let's hear the other side. You say that case has a national significance, this case doesn't?
Sure.
That case was discussed, this case was not. I'll get Subramaniam Swamy in on this. In fact, Subramaniam Swamy.
There's a difference between Tarun Tejpal is not a prime ministerial candidate.
Oh, there you are. Now you are down to saying
that. And I think that's a very serious issue.
That's complete hypocrisy.
The Tarun Tejpal issue.
That's complete hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy.
That's
hypocrisy.
And let me tell you,
that's hypocrisy to the extreme.
And whatever alleged rape. But let me tell you, Arnab,
Sanjay,
you cannot absorb the fact that today there's a serious issue which has been exposed by Cobra Post in Gulel, which is actually done by a police officer serving in the Gujarat government. That is the reality. And the reason why the perception has been created that Tarun Tejpal and Congress is being soft is because the BJP wants that false perception to be created. No, it's important for me to name that because you have been asking questions of the Congress party. As a spokesman of the party,
and
I have a right to defend my party when it is being maligned in a wrong fashion by the BJP.
Convinced. And let me tell you,
I'm done.
I'm not convinced because 1 minute, 4 minutes I've been told 4 minutes into the debate, you must let the other side come in. So the Congress party's position is, and don't respond right now. Asaram Bapu is national, Tarun Tejpal is not. Snoop Gate is national, Tarun Tejpal is not. When a prime ministerial candidate is involved, we'll hold a press conference. When Tarun Tejpal is involved, it's not important enough for us. Subramaniam Swamy is responding to that. 4 minutes into the Newshour Debate.
No, you have twisted
Subramaniam Swamy, I haven't twisted a word.
India heard what I said.
I haven't twisted a word. Yes, please. I've interpreted what you've said. Rightly so. Subramaniam Swamy, please.
For what he's done.
Subramaniam Swamy, please. We are losing time. Mr. Swamy.
Mr. Modi or Amit Shah to speak up.
Dr. Swamy, please. The Congress party cannot dominate the entire debate. Yes, please. Subramaniam Swamy.
Well, first of all, we are not discussing Snoopgate here. I thought you had invited me for a discussion on what happened in Telka. Secondly, all kinds of wild charges are being made and you have not bothered to stop it. For instance, this lady who claims to be a civil rights activist says that Asaram Bapu is someone I supported. Well, I supported the Shankaracharya of Kanchi and today I am thoroughly vindicated.
You defended
and their same kinds of charges are also made besides murder. Now let her listen, we know you are of Naxalite persuasion and you are likely to find all these Swamijis of a little abhorrent for you.
It doesn't help to say all kinds of
let me say that I know on which side you are at what place. You are on the Nirbhaya issue, you completely abandoned the issue. It is I who had to take it up and go to the Supreme Court and get justice.
We abandoned
so don't give me all that. Now, yes, we know your Naxalite persuasion.
No,
you need not have to take it out on Asaram Babu when you are discussing
I thought Subramaniam Swamy, you wanted to discuss Tarun Tejpal.
Now,
you wanted to discuss Tarun Tejpal, don't make it political. Don't make it.
She goes on interrupting like this. She said something, I never said a word.
But stay to Tarun Tejpal, sir. Remain focused on the Tarun Tejpal affair. That's my only request to you. I can tell you this. Yes, please. Remain focused on Tarun Tejpal.
This obsession with Asaram Bapu.
I am asking you about Tarun Tejpal. Do you think he faces imminent arrest now? What are his options? I want you to give me your position.
He has tried to tamper with the witness. He sent his relatives to meet the girl's parents and terrorize them. So he deserves to be in jail, and his collaborator Shoma, she also ought to be in jail because she should have gone to the police in the very first place. She is an accessory to the crime and therefore she has to be there interrogated in the jail.
Well, Sankarshan Thakur, Ajay Bose, I want your view as the story moves forward. One with Dalip Tahil, please. Ajay Bose, as the story moves forward, I have 3 minutes left on the Newshour Debate. My question to you, which direction do you think this is moving? You know, with the cover-up over the last 6 days, it is quite clear here the position that the defense has taken. Character assassination and denial have been the two epicenters of the defense so far. No acceptance of guilt. I'm not saying acceptance of guilt would have made a difference, but do you think arrest looks inevitable now?
I certainly think so. I think Tarun Tejpal's defense has become weaker and weaker with every passing day. He's compounded his crime by making these contradictory statements. His accomplice, Shoma Chaudhary, has not helped him very much. Now he's blaming Shoma Chaudhary for making him lie in that apology. It's really a cock and bull story. Nobody's going to believe it. Certainly, the police is moving towards it. And I'm expecting him to be arrested over the next 48 hours. So certainly that is moving. I think Mr. Tahil should also realize that quite apart from what is happening in the courts, there is a general public outrage about this, and which is quite apart from, there is a public outrage because of certain things which have come out in the public domain. People are angry about this, and I think we need to recognize that the public, just like with that gang rape, on that Delhi bus, just like with all these things, the people are getting impatient. We need to do something about this.
Well, absolutely. At the last part, the most revolting part of all of which I've read from Tarun Tejpal's email. One part where he says, quote, in this frivolous laughing mood, the encounter took place. Sankarshan, you have been so thoroughly objective in your analysis of this, and I'm sure it's not easy. You've also served as Tehelka as executive editor and contributed to the growth of that magazine. This argument which Tarun Tejpal puts, in this frivolous laughing mood the encounter took place, seems to suggest that he's arguing that in a frivolous laughing atmosphere, you can go ahead and sexually assault and even rape someone. Shoma knew about all this.
He has only compounded by saying all these things, he is only compounding the grave injustice he has already inflicted on that young lady.
Yes.
And Arnab, what you have been discussing on this program for almost a week and what this whole country has been discussing, how Tarun Tejpal describes that event in his bail plea. He calls it a meeting.
Oh, yes.
Now, what more is there to be said?
It's ridiculous. But I'm glad today that at a time when so many questions are being asked, journalists like you, Ajay Bose and all the others have come together. Just a suggestion, please don't respond to it. I think what the country would like to see right now is a Congress and BJP come together in a joint press conference and take a position on this. This, insinuation, shadow boxing is not required. I second that. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll follow the story tomorrow. And thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight.